Yeah.
I'm gonna get a 5-minute walk over here.
Yeah. I just turned it on and we'll let it go. And I'll worry about trying to edit it later. Oh, we've got some milk crates back at the pawn shack. We're really lucked out with the sun being out today. It was supposed to be cloudy, so this is a pleasant surprise. You'll notice the sign on the right-hand side of the canal over here. It says 2.4. That's the number of kilometers that we've traveled since the start. And it's marked all the way to the end. I think it goes to 7.8 kilometers is the distance from one end to the other. But it's nice. Kind of gives you an idea of how far you've traveled and where you're at in relation to where you started. So April and I took a little tour yesterday underneath the little arch. It's just a little pond area. It ends probably the length of a hockey rink after that archway. You'll also notice that they don't allow hockey sticks and hockey pucks out here, which is a shame, although it's certainly understood. But I think it would be neat if at some point they blocked off a section of this and had like an extra long rink hockey game. You know, make something that's like, I don't know, some crazy distance and add a couple more people to each team, and I think it would be pretty neat because you'd definitely turn into a no-check game because you couldn't catch anybody over the length of the game, and I imagine it'd be pretty low scoring and incredibly boring from the goalie perspective, but it might be a little fun just from a spectator point of view to watch the speed from one length of the ice to the other. Coming up on the right is the other main area where there's beaver tails and poutine and hot cocoa and coffee. So it's going to get pretty crowded up here on the right in a moment. April and I stopped yesterday, had ourselves a beaver tail over here to make the experience complete. Ice is getting really choppy. What happens is overnight they treat it, and then the temperatures drop so low overnight, the ice actually crystallizes, so it gets to the point where it gets chopped up very easily. And of course, then you add thousands and thousands of people, and you end up with a chopped up hockey rink, or in this case, a canal. Here on the right, you'll see looks like they've got some activities going on.
difficult, often dangerous it is to try and ride one of these things. But that's okay, because wherever I go in the world, I always find the perfect stunt volunteer. Hi, sir. Can I borrow you for a second? Oh, you can't leave that child unattended again. Okay, that's all right. Oh, perfect. Hi, sir. Can I borrow you for a second? Just looking for someone without any confidence.
So you can smell charcoal right now. It smells really good. I don't know who's cooking what, but man, does it smell good. Those of you watching this at home, just imagine, if you will. Nice charcoal grill. How you doing over there? Okay. Been a trooper. I'm ready. Ooh, Dorothy Hamill.
I did it without falling.
I do my best Tanya Harding, but I forgot my baseball bat. But I can do my Nancy Kerrigan. Why me? Oh, I don't know if you can see. You see the top of that cool building where the top almost looks like the Taj Mahal? That's the Aberdeen Pavilion. And they actually hosted the Stanley Cup Championship in 1904. How cool is that? We ate lunch yesterday just outside of that building and got some nice photos of it from the outside. And when we first saw the building, I said to April, I said, I'll bet that was a hockey rink at one time. And sure enough, we did some research while we were eating lunch and learned that that building, which hopefully I can get a better view up here for you, hosted the Stanley Cup Challenge, because it wasn't quite the playoffs back in 1904. And it's the oldest building still in existence that hosted such a match. So that was pretty cool. We weren't able to get inside it though.
You're like the local historian.
I'm trying to narrate this otherwise rather boring long video.
Well, you could make it go faster.
Yeah, imagine what I sound like if I really talk really fast and good.
Yeah, you could push up there. And you could circle back and kind of like what you do when you run.
Oh, it's all good. I'm enjoying myself. So this is where we jumped on the canal yesterday. So that cool building I just told you about is actually part of a complex that also includes, I think it's the TD football stadium where the Ottawa Canadian Football League team plays out of, and it's a little complex that features that stadium, which you can maybe over the trees see the back end of one sideline. of the stadium. It's kind of got a cool design that faces the canal, and then kind of a standard straight up design on the other side. Well, we parked over there and jumped on the canal here, and then afterwards went over and had a nice lunch at the local, which was a pub restaurant type place. And I'm still hoping that through these trees, or maybe when I get up a little bit further, we'll get a better view of that Aberdeen pavilion that I was talking about earlier, where the Stanley Cup was challenged for in 1904. It's nice.